So like I just said, that, instead of donating to temples, if we adopt some of these projects, or, donate whatever little we can to these projects, you can be assured that we have handpicked these projects because we know, directly work with them, and we know that these projects are absolutely committed to Hindu Dharma and to the work on the ground for our people. And I want to thus move on to the next topic, which is actually temples. Temples were civilizationally originally at the center of the Indic civilization and Hindu Dharma. Pathshalas used to run, gurukuls used to run, and hospitals used to run through that money that was donated there. Even the king used to, put a large chunk of the money there, and the priest, had that power and support as a spiritual leader of the community to support that. It also was an economic stronghold for traders. As we all know, when the invaders came and the barbarians came, they decided they were going to loot the wealth and break the temples. Well, the British was smarter. They did not break the temples. They decided they were going to take it under the British government control, and they would use that money, whatever money from the hundis was taken away, and as a loot or a bounty for the British. And sadly, though we are independent since 1947, our temples are not. That is why, to paraphrase Sri Aurobindo, who said, we may have achieved independence of the country, but if Hindu Dharma has to survive, there has to be an Indic renaissance. And that cannot happen unless our temples are free and that whole cultural milieu is established again. And I want to talk about the legal fight, rather have T.R. Rameshji talk about the legal fight that he does. He's at the forefront of trying to free these temples from government control, encroachment of land that happens, and billions of dollars that go away from, which could have helped Hindus and Hindu Dharma, but that is going away and is taken away for absolutely anything except helping the Hindu cause. So, T.R. Rameshji, thank you so much for leading these legal battles and for all the work that you do. And please tell us a little bit more about it. Thank you so much.
Namaskar. Jai Shri Ram. Hari Om Shiva Chidambaram. My name is T.R. Ramesh. I am the president of Temple Worshipper Society. I'm also the president of Indic Collective Trust. These two organizations are currently doing a lot in getting our temples out of government control. In 2011, I left my Citibank job. Since then, I've been full-time engaged in my efforts to retrieve temples from government control, our Hindu charities from government control. Today, I'm going to speak on why I'm doing this and why this should be done. I started this journey in 2009 when the last big temple in TamilNadu, which was not under the government control, that is the world famous Chidambaram Nataraja temple, which was with a community, a micro community of Dikshitas, numbering about 400. The Dikshitas have been owning this temple for more than 20 centuries, and without any properties, without hundis, they are doing 6 pujas a day on time and 6 festivals in a year in a grand manner. Thanks to senior counsels Sri C.S. Vaidyanathan, Sri Venkatramani, and a big thanks to Dr. Subramanian Swamy. On 2014, Supreme Court of India gave a path-breaking judgment, a judgment which can be a precedent and help us in take all the temples out of government control. That is the Chidambaram temple verdict delivered on 6th January 2014. Thereafter, I have filed many cases before Madras High Court. I filed a case regarding Sabarimala before Kerala High Court, in which a very good interim order was obtained, which virtually helped the communist government browbeating Ayyappa devotees in his very sanctum, in his very temple in Shabarimala. Today, I have more than 15 cases pending before the Madras High Court. My recent victories in court has been getting the Palani temple, the executive officer present there. His presence is illegal and a fraud on the constitution. That's the declaration I got. Government has gone on appeal because Palani is their biggest quote unquote bread and butter. The temple is the highest grosser in TamilNadu. I would say not as big as Tirupati, but still in a very big way. It's the biggest in the terms of income in Tamil Nadu. So they panicked and they gone on appeal. They brought the former Advocate General to argue. But be that as it may, we will win because we have the facts, we have the research, we have presented it in an admirable manner, if I may say so myself. One big order by Bhagwan's grace I was able to secure is Tamil Nadu government wanted to give the temple and the endowment lands, Hindu temple and endowment lands, to the very encroachers themselves. A shameful move, an infamous move. Court understood the impact of this, how it can affect Hindu interests, how it can affect the endowments. And a stay order has been now obtained. More than 1 lakh crore worth of Hindu spaces have been temporarily saved. We need to get a final order in that. By Bhagwan's grace, I was able to also stop in April 2020. Government moved to take 10 crores from the temples for its own purposes, but calling it COVID relief fund. A temple is not allowed to do charity, but they will take the money from the temple and do it in their name. This is being done in Karnataka, Andhra, elsewhere, but in April 2020, we have completely stopped it. Now I have a case pending and an order is reserved where government wants to take nearly 30 crores from temple fund and start a TV channel, calling it a temple TV channel. Today, government's presence in temples is curtailing our right to profess and practice. They also want to take over propagation, which a government cannot do. This is a valuable right given to a citizen. Government cannot do propagation of any religion, and they better not take our temple funds. I would like to give you a little rush you through a presentation to explain the scenario on how the temples and the Hindu charities have been endowed by our ancestors and how we have failed to protect more than half of them. But with the current holdings that need to be protected, every inch of them, square inch of them need to be protected. And how this can bring about a renaissance for Hindus, particularly in South India. So I'm going to share the presentation now. I request you to kindly watch my presentation on why we should free our temples from government control and what changes it can bring about, especially in South India. This is true for some of the North Indian states also, but I will begin here. We cannot imagine Bharat without temples. We cannot imagine even a single village in Bharat without temples. If we see a village without temples, then we see a village without Hindu presence. That should not happen. That should never happen. It's not just the temples, the institutions that the temples built. The Goshala, the Patashala, the Agama Patashala, the schools, even colleges, the Ayurveda institutions. Temples were the hub of the society. It provided jobs, it taught us culture, it taught us dance, music, art, craft. So the temples are an important, pivotal part of our system. So what happened when government took control of our temples? The first to get hit was our temple culture, our Vedic culture, our Sanatan. They kept people away. Temples were always sustained by volunteers, by Seva, by active, humble, and happy Seva. The Seva people formed a network, and the network really transcended caste, community, language, status of wealth, etc. It did. Don't let anyone tell you the opposite. Such a statement would be false. Then, because government came, the government inefficiency and corruption came, the true income of the temples and their properties, it started dwindling. Our dharmic institutions were systematically closed. Art and artisans were not encouraged. Temples were the patrons of such arts. The patronship vanished under government. Then our statues, our icons, they were stolen, they were melted, our antique jewels were stolen. Thus, our heritage was put to great loss. And government brought in darshan tickets, shops inside the temples, crass commercialization took over. Now, how bad it is. For 70 years or more, Hindus have been alienated from the temples. They can't take a decision, they can't partake. They are not the stakeholders. How the temple should be run, how the dharmic institution should be run. And today, after second generation, people do not have an idea what exactly is the loss. Because they've been so conditioned to government control, they don't know what they're losing and how non-Hindus and anti-Hindus are flourishing because government is controlling temples to an effect that temples are not functioning the way they ought to function as dharmic institutions. Today in TamilNadu, about $50 million or less, South India, is being realized from temple properties. Actually, in the overall scenario, I'm saying a very big amount, which is about $10 billion. This is not an exaggeration. This is the truth. I'll come to it. Further, losing temple lands and making them secular properties because government is treating temple lands as sitting ducks and they take those lands at a pittance whenever they need land for industry or building an office or a police station or an electricity substation, whatever. The temple lands, if we lose them, who comes there? Secular people come there, others come there. And then the temple land is not there to defend the environs of the temple. So conversion and occupation by anti-Hindus. Demography gets changed. Kerala, Hindus lost 250,000 acres in 1954. After that, Hindus have been declining there. In Tamil Nadu, we have lost 500,000 acres of temple and endowment lands. And AP and Karnataka put together another 500,000 acres of land. This is just an example of one district in Tamil Nadu in 1887. The kind of lands that were endowed, Devadiyam for temples was 112,000 acres in one district. For Brahmanas and Vedic institution and for schools, 40,929 acres. And for the chatrams, the places where poor are fed, and for other dharmic affairs, goshalas, etc., 4,700 acres. Totally 157,000 acres. And today, not even 1/10 of that is there. I would like to tell you the subject of religious institutions is a concurrent subject. It is not just the state that can legislate and control. Central government cannot be a mute witness because the subject is coming under concurrent list in item 28 of the Indian Constitution. All the states have legislations by which they take over Hindu institutions forever and keep them, retain them. Whereas Article 31A 1B in the Constitution says any property, not just temples, any property, a company or a school or a hospital or any institution, the property can be taken over, the management of the property can be taken over for reasons of public good or for reasons of better management only for a limited period, say a maximum of 3 years. But we see Pandharpur temple, Siddhivinayak temple, we see the Shabarimala temple, we see the Madurai Meenakshi Amman temple, all under government control for 70 years, 60, 70 years. So what are the comparison? We talked about religious institutions coming under concurrent subject. So what is the type of legislation that is present today? The scope of the acts like TamilNadu Act or Andhra Pradesh Religious Endowments Act, it covers all Hindu institutions, temples, mutts and endowments. On the contrary, a Waqf Act covers only the endowments of Islamic character, the Muslim endowments. For Christians, there's nothing to cover their places of worship, nothing to cover their endowments. An executive officer is appointed by the government, and the executive officer is a government servant. The acts invariably say so. For the Waqf board, the charities, the executive officer is appointed as a non-government person. For churches, for Christians, there are no such appointments. The powers under the Act, the general superintendence and control, actually it's object total control. For the Waqfs, it's only supervision of the properties of the Waqfs. For the Christian, again, they're extremely well off, better off than the Hindus and even the Muslims. No act, no control, nothing. By the state legislations, the government interferes even in religious matters. Though they say we don't, they interfere. They fix your budget. They tell you on which date the consecration of the temple has to be done. They tell you who to appoint as Archaka. Total interference. They tell you who can enter your temple. Like in Shabarimala they did. In the Waqf Act, the Act doesn't apply to mosques. The Act specifically prohibits interference in religious matters, and it is scrupulously followed. As far as Christians, only if there is an act, we need to think about it. There is nothing to stop Christians from preaching their religion and converting people. Very, very convenient. Losing 50,000 acres of temple lands after 1950 made Kanyakumari district 50% Christian. Losing 250,000 acres in Kerala declined the 70% Hindus to 50% or even less. In Tamil Nadu, close to 1 billion is being lost every year because of encroachment in temple and endowment lands. The result is Hindus end up enriching non-Hindus, since no temples, colleges, hospitals are run by Hindu temples. Just 1 or 2 here, not 300 or 400 like the Christian churches run. We have the largest number of thefts of antiquities in our temples under government. Between 1986 and 2017, government has alienated 47,000 acres of Hindu lands. That means the spaces have been lost to non-Hindu purposes. For this lousy and mismanaged administration, the government charges 18% as administration fee and audit fee in Tamil Nadu and 21.5% in Andhra Pradesh. 1/5 of the income goes as government administration fee, which is nothing but a jizya, a tax on the Hindus. Temples are being demolished as we speak. Our Vedic institutions have disappeared. What we can really get from temple lands? I'm giving you a Tamil Nadu example. 478,000 acres of agricultural lands, 290 million square feet of urban sites, 22,600 buildings. This is the immovable property wealth of Tamil Nadu. The sites, unlike agricultural lands, have the advantage of being right in the middle of a village, town, or city. A very easy, this is simple maths. A very easy 5 rupee per square foot per month can be obtained. The basic. There are sites in Chennai right next to the Boat Club Road, which is the most prestigious area in Chennai in terms of real estate. Most, I mean, I would say extremely costly place to buy land. There, the Kapalishwar temple has 305 grounds, and the government fixed rental per ground per month. The ground is 2,400 square feet. Is 3 lakh rupees. Whereas I'm talking about 5 rupees per square foot. That is like less than 10,000 rupees for a ground. If you calculate 5 rupees per square foot per month, the sum works out to 1,745 crores per annum. Add another 4,400 million square feet from 100,000 agricultural lands which have become semi-urban areas. You charge only 1 rupee per square foot there. You can get another 5,280 crores per annum, which means you have more than $1 billion every year from these lands alone, and we still have 378,000 acres of agricultural lands and 22,600 buildings. South Indian temple properties, if developed properly, can generate 6 billion every year. Free education and healthcare for all Hindus, true Hindus, will leave so much surplus funds in their hands, which can be further invested by them. This will also be a very big boost to our economy. You can give health insurance for 500,000 Hindu families with TamilNadu temple income. Primary education for another 500,000 Hindu children, 500,000 children. Establish every year 10 schools with a very liberal budget of rupees 50 crores per school. The best library, the best playground, the best facilities for children to learn. 5 professional colleges at 200 crores per annum. 20 schools for Vedas, Sanskrit, arts, craft, Ayurveda. Just 5 crores per institution. We need to build institutions because institutions will guarantee job and livelihood and will stop conversion like nothing else can. The Christians start schools, they give employment, and after 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the employees start their missionary work. We can start institutions and we can stop that missionary work with our institutional power. So what we need to do? Keep the Chidambaram temple case as a precedent. There is a Swami Dayananda Saraswati case pending from 2012 in Supreme Court. It is ripe for hearing. Support that case. Supreme Court has been following the definition, Western church-oriented definition of denomination, which is denying Article 26 fundamental rights to 90% of the Hindus. Throw that definition out and use the 1987 adoption of the Hindi constitution, where the religious denomination is seen as Dharmik Sampradaya. I am a Hindu, I am an Indic religion. I should be cloaked with the fundamental rights and the guarantee, because the court should treat me not as a denomination, but as a Sampradaya. And the moment the court cloaks you with Article 26 protection, government is automatically thrown out of your institutions. And bring about the Hindu Renaissance with this income. Thank you very much. Jai Hind. Jai Shri Ram. Today, I'm very happy to do this presentation for our Hindu brothers and sisters across the world through VSI. VSI, I'm much obliged for giving me the opportunity. I'm sure they are taking the message and awareness across so that Hindus realize what their power is, what they need to be done, and what is being done to prevent the Hindu might and dharma. The moment we are aware of what we need to do and what is being leashed out on us, we can act. Thank you, VSI. Jai Shri Ram. Hari Om Shiva Chidambaram.
Thank you so much for your presentation. And I think This is a lot of awareness that is being generated. First of all, we thought that this presentation is largely going to be viewed in US and in India, but I am receiving messages that people are joining in from Malaysia, from the Middle East, from Australia, and from Europe and from all over the world. So like you said, hopefully this is going to help generate that sort of understanding as to how much money is being trapped inside these temples and being actually frisked away. Like you said, 6 billion. That number just stays with me. That much of money that can be used for the causes of Hindus. And I know people who are converting just because their children get education in some convent school or English medium school. They just convert and send their children to that school. So if we can release this sort of money, your fight is so important for that purpose to help save Hindu Dharma. So, Tia Ramesh, people have asked for your email. Some of them have asked for donations. We have put the links out, and I think one of the things that we need to know is how much people can donate. For you to cover that cost. You have legal costs per month. So maybe that is something people like to know. I'm receiving questions on that. How much can they donate or?
Well, I actually do not solicit funds, and I thank you very much for understanding this and arranging me, because without Artha, we can't do Dharma.
Yes.
And a legal case, especially in an Indian scenario, is so frustrating, so energy consuming, and of course, money consuming. I have some very senior counsels in the Supreme Court who come pro bono for me because they appreciate the works which has been done so far, and very, very kind of them. But we need to fight a lot of cases locally. And I believe in paying a reasonable amount to the lawyers. I don't just I believe in pro bono work. It doesn't work all the time. We need an office, we need two staff, and we need a research person. All this, I had put a budget of about rupees 1,40,000 per month. And this has to be sustained, because with research only I'm winning. With the research data, I use the very data provided by the government to defeat them, because I know where it would hurt them, where the court would really take note of, what would they really take note of. So this has been my strategy so far. I have about 14, 15 cases pending before Honorable High Court of Madras. And we are gearing up for the very big Sampradaya case before Honorable Supreme Court, which will release temples from government control across India. And even the Kerala situation, it can be very well, we can be addressed. What we need to do is we need to retain the wealth of Sri Padmanabha Swami Temple, which is about 500,000 crores, and get Union government to issue quasi-currency bonds for 300,000 crores per annum. The wealth will be secured there. It will not move out of the temple, but 300,000 crores quasi-currency government can generate on the basis of that security, and Reserve Bank of India can give 12,000 to 15,000 crores to Padmanabha Swami to do Hindu charities. No Hindu in Kerala should pay for education or health or for getting vocational training, etc., with that kind of money. It's not only just Kerala. That money will spill over all southern states and beyond them. So we have a solution for Kerala also through legal thing. The Guruvayur temple, which gets about 440 crores per annum now, has got 12,500 acres for which government is paying a pittance. We should get the lands back, or we should get the real market value for that for those lands. So with that, we can make Dharma flourish in Kerala again. Kerala, we need to instill confidence. We need to give them jobs. We need to give them education. We need to provide them healthcare. This was a wonderful presentation by Shashiji. Vishwanathji, I got to know we have solutions for that. We need to take the temples and the lands out of government control. Losing lands is losing Hindu spaces. It changes demography. We should
Absolutely.
not, it should not allow that at all. And the Gar Vapsi can happen the moment we are a resurgent Hindu power with institutions. Gar Vapsi will happen. Not only will we stop conversion, we will have people coming back to our fold again, because they left because they were insecure. 90% of them left because insecure. Even love jihad is only a combination of cheating and insecurity. We can defeat all that. With the temples, our ancestors have given, our rishis have shown us the way. We just need to get back to the basics. And the court efforts are very, very important in this. Hanji, for me.
Ramesh,
Any questions?
thanks so much for your. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can.
So this was a great presentation, and I know you personally, so we have met so many times, and in this whole maze of this temple protection and all that, which has been going on for decades now. My request to you is to give a one-line solution to an average Hindu like me. I'm a middle-class Hindu going to my hospital, taking care of my family needs. Give me a simple, solution which I can offer either in narrative building. Funding is separate. Everything is separate. What is a simple thing that an average Hindu can do to help you in getting this temple freedom? A simple suggestion, and very briefly.
Okay. The temple belongs to them and not to the government. First, they should realize that's it. They should realize that the temple belongs to the community, to the individual Hindus, and they should involve themselves in the temples. The temple will take care of them. Absolutely take care of them. Especially in South India, all these temples are propertied, or one property of one temple can take care of 1,000 temples, like Tirupati. Tirupati today gets about 3,500 crore rupees per annum, but because of government control, they started posting people unnecessarily by taking 30 lakhs, 50 lakhs for each such posting. And today the salary bill alone has come to about 40% of the total collection. The administration cost of a charity or a dharmic institution should be less than 5%.
So, okay. So what can an ordinary Hindu do about raise awareness?
Awareness, agitation when required. Say, okay, I'll tell you one solution. Now elections are coming in Tamil Nadu and Kerala. One solution.
Yeah.
In Kerala, every Hindu should ask people coming for vote, are you going to get the Padmanabha Swami temple wealth secured? And
that's the call. That's the call we should make.
Similarly, Tamil Nadu, all Hindus should ask the people coming asking for votes, are our temples going to be released and the true income generated or not? That's it. They need to do only that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ramesh. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, Ramesh. And I know that, at least we should have some people, pledge their donations, maybe start webinars in their area. People are joining from Malaysia. And, if you write to us at foundationvsi@gmail.com, we will organize webinars there, bring people, donate a little bit of money. Every penny goes a long way to help in this fight. And, a monthly budget is required to run the legal channels, to paralegals and whatnot, right, Rameshji? I know you never ask for funds, but Artha drives Dharma, like you always tell us. So I hope our people realize what kind of money we are losing for our Hindu cause if we do not free our temples. Thank you, Rameshji. And, we ask people to donate as much as they can, and host webinars for me in Malaysia, in Middle East, wherever you are. Plan something, but with 20 people, we'll grow our cause. Thank you so much.